So this is happening right now. The suspect in the second assassination attempt against former President Trump is in court. Now, we knew that that was going to happen, and so it has begun. The Department of Justice prosecutors are arguing to keep him in custody. And just this morning, the department released a memo which includes photographs and a chilling letter, allegedly written by Ryan Routh, the suspect. It addresses to the world and says this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. But, quote, "I am so sorry I failed you." Former Assistant FBI Director Chris Swecker has some thoughts.
He basically made the case against himself, which I suspected, might happen. That brings it under some very serious federal statutes. So the more serious charges will come. They may not come today, but they're going to use all this evidence, and there's other evidence as well, to hold him on no bond. They don't want him getting out.
And Dana Marie McNichol is in West Palm Beach, Florida right now, outside the suspect's detention hearing. Dana Marie, some new details.
That's right, Harris. Good morning. That detention hearing is expected to be quick. There's no cameras in the federal courtroom, so of course we'll get those details to you right as it finishes. But let's get to that brand new information. Those court docs revealing a lot of information about the day of that assassination attempt. Now, while police searched Ruth's car, they found 2 additional license plates, 6 cell phones. One of those cell phones had a Google search of how to travel from Palm Beach County to Mexico. The agents also found 12 pairs of gloves and documents, including a handwritten list of dates from August through October of 2024, listing venues where the former president would be. Now, additional new details come from a witness interviewed by the FBI who said Ruth had dropped off a box at his home a couple months ago with ammunition, a metal pipe, also some other building materials. Also 4 cell phones and various letters. So one of those handwritten letters addressed to the world, it said, quote, "This was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you. I tried my best. I gave it all the gumption I could muster," end quote. He also offered thousands of dollars to finish the job. Prosecutors will most likely argue this letter does prove some intent. Now, today, Ruth is facing 2 gun charges. That's possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. New court docs we got today say the rifle was loaded with a total of 11 rounds and had a round in the chamber. There was even fingerprint evidence linking Ruth to that rifle. Now, these are not the most severe charges that could be brought, but right now, that's just enough to keep him locked up. Ruth's attorney will be able to request bond, but the judge will most certainly rule to keep him in jail until a new trial or, again, those more severe charges are brought. Right now, he's in court. We're waiting for our producers to come out to bring you the latest. Harris.
All right, Dana Marie, thank you very much. I want to bring in now Nicole Parker, former FBI agent and Fox News contributor. Nicole, it's always great to have you along, and it seems like you bring breaking news with you in a good way, so we can drill down. Okay, let's talk about the letter and the items that purportedly were left behind by this accused assassin, would-be assassin.
That letter is a treasure trove of information, Harris. I mean, as the federal agent, right now, like we've discussed, they have 2 charges in place right now. Those are kind of more considered holding charges. Yeah, they're solid charges, very, very solid. But, you want to stack him with as many charges as possible. And this letter basically is almost like a confession. Hey, I did this. I attempted to assassinate President Trump, and this is what I did, and this is what the plan was, and I'm sorry I let you down. That is crucial, and I appreciate that in this detention hearing, they are revealing this sort of information because the prosecutors have to determine and have to prove to the judge that this person is a flight risk or an endangerment to the community and society. And when you read that and you see all of the evidence mounting, I think there's a very strong possibility that he will be detained.
Well, and yes, to the public and all of that, absolutely. But specifically to former President Trump. He apologized for not getting the job done, if you will, in that letter that he allegedly wrote. I mean, he's an immediate danger to a very specific target.
Absolutely. And like I said, the prosecutors had to reveal all of this information that the general public, we did not know up until this point, right? And I think there's just so much more information as well. These cell phones. Cell phones are so powerful. The fact that you can identify the pings, the cellular analysis support team at the FBI, they will triangulate and look at all of where those pings were. This individual, Routh, he'd been around that golf course since August. He'd been there multiple times and had come down to Florida and had been in the Florida area for over, for about a month when this happened. And all the searches that he did, trying to escape to Mexico potentially. This is a solid case. And again, don't forget that the state of Florida also has rights to this investigation. And I hope that they do. I hope they run a parallel investigation to the federal investigation that's going on right now.
Well, last week, Acting Secret Service Director Ryan Routh admitted his people failed.
It's important that we hold ourselves accountable for the failures of July 13th, and that we use the lessons learned to make sure that we do not have another failure like this again. These employees will be held accountable, and this agency has among the most robust table of penalties in the entirety of the federal government. I've directed that the Secret Service embark on a significant paradigm shift that will redefine how we conduct protective operations.
Nicole, someone on my team this morning reminded me, and so I'm going to say it, responsibility is not the same as accountability. Him standing up there and saying, yeah, my guys or women did a bad. We messed up. But where's the accountability? Not one person has been fired with a direct link to what is happening right now, particularly with the July 13th Butler, Pennsylvania incident.
And I echo your frustration. I really do, because you know what? It makes the good agents look really bad when you have a really weak advanced agent or side agent, whoever dropped the ball. Harris, let me see the operations plan. Let America understand the operations plan. Who signed that? At the end of the day, the buck stops with you. The agent, their supervisor, the SAC, whoever was signing that, the buck stops with you. And if you drop the ball, there have to be consequences. Accountability has to equate to consequences. And Americans want to see consequences. If no one's held accountable with a consequence, then accountability doesn't really hold much weight. So what is that consequence going to be? Is anyone going to be fired? Are they just going to be moved off a protection detail going forward? Are they going to get 30 days on the bricks, as we call it? The Office of Professional Responsibility, OPR, is doing this investigation. And we want to see some consequences.
So I understand all that you're saying. Then why did we have another one? A second assassination attempt. Those things obviously were not done. And the buck stops with Roe. They stopped with the previous director of the Secret Service who quit after one day on the Hill of hearings, Kimberly Cheadle. Now it stops with him. Would you feel safe if you were any of these leaders that are being protected? The current administration's leaders, Biden and Harris, or Mr. Trump?
God bless President Trump. I have to say, he has such grace. Frankly, he has a lot of grace towards the Secret Service right now. He continues to praise the good agents because, frankly, I would be not feeling too confident if my life had potentially almost been taken twice. And I think what disturbs me is that he is, Director Rowe, Acting Director Rowe is saying, hey, we had the full services of the Secret Service that Sunday. The full offer of the Secret Service was there.
Right.
That's the full service that you can offer. A second attempt is the full service. I mean, that is concerning. But again, kudos to the new agent. It was a new agent, and they referred to him as he was a fairly new agent. Good for you for doing the job, because the protective sweep is what saved President Trump's life once again. He has been spared.
Amen. All right, Nicole Parker, thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.